In the early hours of November 5th, 1952, at exactly 4:00 a.m., the city of Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky was violently shaken from sleep. The ground quaked, buildings groaned under stress, cracks split the walls, plaster rained down, and dishes crashed to the floor. Startled residents, still half asleep, rushed outside in confusion and fear. For several minutes, the tremors persisted before fading into an eerie silence. Far out in the Pacific Ocean, near the earthquake's epicenter, a massive wave was forming. It gathered speed and strength with terrifying momentum, racing toward the coastlines of Kamchatka and the Kuril Islands. Within half an hour, it slammed into the land. In its path, the wave obliterated entire villages, swept away border patrol posts, fishing boats, and, most devastatingly, the city of Severo-Kurilsk on the island of Paramushir. But the horror wasn't over. After the initial strike, a second wave followed, and then a third. Thousands were consumed by the sea. Entire coastal stretches vanished beneath the water. At the same time, in Moscow, the capital was holding a parade in honor of the anniversary of the October Revolution. Comrade Stalin attended. Not a single newspaper mentioned the disaster. The truth was concealed, and all official records were swiftly stamped top secret. Residents of Severo-Kurilsk had also been awakened by the quake at 4:00 a.m. Light bulbs swung from ceilings, glass shattered. Earthquakes were not unusual in the region, and many locals had learned to live with them. But this time, the tremors felt different, stronger, deeper. As the shaking subsided, the sky remained clear, the moon glowed above, and the air was unusually warm for a November morning. People, reassured, began returning to their homes, unaware that this was only the beginning of an unimaginable nightmare. Meanwhile, the head of the local police department, Officer Deryabin, left his house to inspect the detention facility. Cracks had opened in the earth, and the jail building had partially collapsed. While discussing where to relocate the prisoners, a deep rumbling noise echoed from the direction of the sea. Turning toward the coast, they saw a colossal wall of water rushing toward them. Deryabin shouted, "Wave incoming!" and ordered his men to open fire as a warning. Then they ran for the hills. Others, hearing the thunderous roar, began pouring into the streets in a panic. Some were barefoot, others in their nightclothes. The waves struck with incredible force, crushing houses like paper and sweeping people away as they fled uphill. In just minutes, much of the city had been erased. When the wave receded, it left behind only wreckage and silence. Some survivors began cautiously descending from the hills, hoping to find loved ones or assess the damage to their homes. But 20 minutes later, the second wave came. This one was even more devastating. A 15-meter-high wall of water struck Paramushir with catastrophic power. One part surged northeast, annihilating everything in its way, while the other crashed directly into Severo-Kurilsk. The few remaining buildings were pulverized. Cars, debris, and people were swallowed by a massive whirlpool. The seaport was obliterated. Fishing boats were scattered like toys. The second wave delivered the most destruction, dragging hundreds more into the sea. A third wave arrived soon after. Though smaller, it completed the devastation. The city was now little more than a wasteland. Only a few buildings, perched on elevated terrain, had survived. Debris floated across the flooded landscape. Survivors who had remained on high ground scanned the darkness below, trying to understand what remained. but visibility was poor in the pre-dawn haze. Only the sound of water lapping and shifting wreckage filled the air. As daylight broke, reconnaissance planes began circling overhead, photographing the destruction. Rescue boats soon followed, though navigating the debris-filled waters was a challenge. Tangled fishing nets jammed propellers, and collapsed structures blocked access. The government launched a rescue and recovery operation. Soldiers and emergency personnel arrived. But alongside the relief effort came disturbing reports of looting, some allegedly involving members of the local garrison. Severo-Kurilsk had been utterly unprepared for a tsunami of such magnitude. There had been no training, no evacuation plans, no public awareness. The city had been built with economic efficiency in mind, not safety. Few ever questioned why the Japanese who had once lived there had built staircases leading from their homes up the hills. Only after this catastrophe did the Soviet authorities acknowledge the need for a national tsunami warning system. It took an unspeakable loss of life to force that realization.